Good morning, ma'am. Today we will be seeing about recurrence relations. This particular topic we have seen with respect to other previous topics, like we have seen about towers of Hanai. Do you remember towers of Hanai problem? Yes, towers of Hanai problem. Like three towers will be there. We have to transfer from disks from one tower to another tower. Like this we have to transfer by following two conditions, that at a time we have to move only one, and on top of larger one only we can place a smaller disk. Like by following these two constraints, we have to transfer whatever the disks we have in first tower, let us say this is source, to the destination, and we can use another tower as the intermediate one, or we can say temporary one. Okay, this is what the towers of Hanai problem. This we have seen. Do you remember it? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So how we have solved this particular problem, towers of Hanai problem? It is like suppose we are having um, 5 disks on source. Okay, at source we are having 5 disks. Then how we can move 5 disks to the destination? This is the objective. This is the what you call problem. How we will solve this problem is, first 4 disks we will somehow we will keep it in temporary. Okay, we will keep it at temporary, so that larger one or largest one we can move to the destination. That is what the logic. How we will move these 4, that is again is a problem. Understand? I hope you could able to recall what I am saying. Suppose you instead of 5 you consider just three disks we have to move to the destination. In the sense, first two we have to keep it in the temporaries, so that largest one we can move to the destination. Why? Because if you have any disks in a destination other than the largest one, can we move largest one to the destination? No. Why? Because it will violate the second constraint, that larger one only, vertical, smaller one only we can place on top of larger one, but not vice versa. So in order to move this largest one, okay, there can be 3 or 5 or any number of disks that we can have at source. In order to move this largest one to the destination, how many disks we can have at destination at the time? Hmm. Shall I ask a question again?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. We, let us say we are having n disks at a source. Okay, n disks at source, or in particular 5 disks at a source. Whatever the largest disk that we have at a source, in order to move that to the destination, okay, while moving largest disk from source to the destination, how many disks we can have at a destination?
0, sir.
0. We should not have any disks at destination. So where we can have, uh, suppose if we have in 2 disks at source, can we move the largest one?
No, sir.
No. So where we need to have those all should be at temporary. Suppose if we have n disks, first n minus 1 disks we have to move to temporary, then largest one to the destination, then these n minus 1 from temporary to destination. Like this we can split the problem into sub problems. Now first problem that we solve is moving this n minus 1 disks to temporary. So what is the source for these n minus 1? Source itself. What is the destination? Destination will be the temporary for these n minus 1. That will be the sub problem. Understand? So now our interesting point here is, how many moves are required to solve this particular problem. Let us say you consider 2 disks are there. Okay, 2 disks are there. How many moves we need to, we need to have? If you have
3.
2 disks, yeah,
3, sir.
3. Okay, let us denote moves, count of moves or number of moves. Okay, I am saying it as a C2. If you have 2 number of disks, then number of count, okay, count of moves will be 3. Suppose if you have only one disk, then only one
1,
disk,
sir.
how we will denote? C1. How many moves?
One more.
1
One move. If you have 3, if you have 3, we have discussed already this one.
7.
5.
7. Why? Because first 2 we have to move. To move 2 we require 3. This we know already. Yes or no? If we have 3 disks here, first 2 we have to move to temporary. To move 2 disks to the destination, we require 3. Next, largest one we have to place, that requires 1. Next, these 2 again we have to move to the destination. Again we require 3. So total 7 moves. Understand what's the justification for 7? Like this, how we are solving the problem. That is only the justification. Next, what about C4?
15 moves.
15. What is how we could able to say what is the justification? 3 we have to move to the temporary, then largest one to the destination, then 3 we have to move to the destination from temporary. So to move 3 disks we require 7. Next, largest one to the destination we require 1. Then again those 3 from temporary to destination we have to move. So again 7. So total 15. Okay, now you say how many number of moves that we need to count will be having for moving n disks from source to destination. This is the question. In this
2 power
particular
n
one,
minus.
what we can say is, with respect to this analysis, like we have to move n minus 1 disks to temporary. This is the first what you call intuition, right? Like how we are solving the problem. In order to move n disks from source to destination, first we are moving n minus 1 to the temporary. So how many moves we require for transferring n minus 1 to the temporary? Cn minus 1 plus, can you complete it now? Cn minus 1 plus, how many moves required to move largest one to the destination?
Plus 1.
Plus 1. Next, any other thing? Yes.
Then again Cn minus 1.
Yeah, plus Cn minus 1. Okay, this can be written as 2 into Cn minus 1. Yes or no? 2 into Cn minus 1 plus 1. Okay, so Cn is equal to 2 into Cn minus 1 plus 1. And if we have there exists some trivial answers for basic values of n, like C1. What's the value? C1. C1 means one disk we have. So
1.
1. C2
3.
3. Okay, these two values we could able to say easily. Okay, now you try to understand here. Cn is equal to, okay, just you consider Cn is equal to 2 into Cn minus 1. Then what is Cn minus 1? This is the question. What is Cn minus 1?
2 into Cn minus 2 plus 1.
Yeah, so Cn minus 1 is nothing but 2 into Cn minus 2 plus 1. Okay, now we will substitute this Cn minus 1 value into this. Then what we will be getting? 2 into Cn minus 2 plus 1. Isn't it? Yes. So Cn is equal to 2 into Cn minus 1 plus 1. That's what we are having. So instead of Cn minus 1, what we are substituting? 2 into Cn minus 2 plus 1 plus 1. Then what we will be getting? Hmm. 2 power 2 into Cn minus 2 plus
3.
plus 3. Okay. Let us keep like this for some generalization. Next, what is Cn minus 2? Try to understand. This is very, very important method. Yeah. What is Cn minus 2?
2 into Cn
2
minus 3
into
plus 1.
Cn minus 3 plus 1. Then what we will be getting? 2 power 3, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, 2 power 3. Then
Cn minus 3.
Cn minus 3 plus
5.
4, right? Plus 1, right?
Yes,
Cn
sir.
minus 2 means 2 into Cn minus 3 plus 1. So 2 power 2 into 1. That is 4 plus 2 plus 1. This we are keeping as it is. Why? Because for some purpose. Okay, that we will come to know. Yeah. Next, what is next substitution? If you do Cn minus 3 means 2 power 2
2
into
power 4
uh,
Cn minus 4
yeah. So we will be getting 2 power 4 Cn minus 4. Then
plus 8.
plus 8. Yeah, plus 8 plus 4 plus 2 plus 1, like this we will be getting. Yeah, plus 1. Okay. Now if you try to generalize it, like after k, okay, k times substitution, what will be the what will be here? 2 power 4 Cn minus 4, 2 power 3 Cn minus 3, 2 power 2 Cn minus 2, 2 power 1 Cn minus 1. That's what initial point, right? 2 power 1 Cn minus 1 plus 1. This is what the seed actually. So Cn is equal to this one. Then Cn minus 1 we have substituted from this same um, formula. So after k, what we will be getting? 2 power
K Cn minus k.
Cn minus k. What about
2
the next
power
one?
k minus 1.
Very good. 2 power k minus 1. Okay, just we have to observe here. Here we are having 2 power 0, which is nothing but 2 power 1 minus 1. Next, here we are having 2 plus 1 starting from 2 power 2 minus 1. Next, here 2 power 2. 4 is nothing but 2 power 2, which is nothing but 2 power 3 minus 1. Similarly, here 2 power 4 minus 1. Here 2 power k minus 1 up to 2 power 0, which is nothing but 1. Now, sorry, this is what? 2 power k into ck minus 1. Okay. Next, what is the last point? Like, what can be the value? Okay, sorry, this is not k minus 1. What is this one? C n
N minus k.
n minus k. Yeah. And now you consider what can be the last value of n minus k. As we have discussed earlier, that suppose if you have only one disk, how many moves we have to perform? Only one. That is known to us. So until we get one disk or two disks, if you repeat, then we could able to substitute that value because we know that value. So that we can generalize it. Like what can be the last value is, we can say C1, because the value of C1 is known to us, that is 1. C1 value is 1. So what is the value of k in that particular case? That means n minus k should be 1. That's what our requirement. So k is equal to
N minus 1.
n minus 1. So now you substitute here 2 power n minus 1. C, what we will be getting? C
1.
Yeah, C1. Why? Because k value is n minus 1. So n minus 1, which is nothing but C1 plus 2 power.
n
Hmm.
minus 2.
Yeah, very good. N minus 2, 2 power n minus 2. Sorry, 2 power n minus 2 plus 2 power n minus 3. So on 2 power 0, which is nothing but 1. Now, what's the value of C1?
1.
1. So the value of C1 is 1. Then what is the series now? 1 plus 2, 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus so on 2 power n minus 1, isn't it? That is nothing but we can generalize it, 2 power n minus 1. This is what the explicit formula. Yes. Okay, what's the doubt? Why we have taken 2 into cn minus 1, not cn minus 1? Okay. Yeah, how we are solving this problem, towers of Hanai problem, is first we are having, let us consider 3 boxes. Okay, 3 discs. Okay, 3 discs. These we have to move to destination. For that, first these two we have to keep it in a temporary, so that we can move the largest one to the destination. This is the logic. So how many moves we require to move to temporary? That is, how many disks we are moving? 2 disks. So the number of moves I am assuming as C2. Okay, next we will be performing only one move, that is the largest one to the destination. So plus 1. Next, one more thing, our problem not yet solved fully. So these 2 disks which we have put in the temporary, we have to move to destination. For that, how many moves we require is C2. So which is nothing but 2 into C2 plus 1. How many disks we have assumed? 3. So the number of moves that we require for 3 disks transfer from source to destination is nothing but 2. The number of moves which we require to transfer 2 disks, then plus 1 plus 2 disks. How many moves we require to transfer 2 disks from temporary to destination? So total C2 plus 1 plus C2, which is nothing but 2 into C2 plus 1. Understand? Similarly, yeah, Zian, did you get the point? Yeah. Similarly, n disks if we have in source, then n minus 1 we have to move to temporary. So number of moves required to transfer n minus 1 from source to temporary, we will be saying as cn minus 1. Then again, we have to move largest one to the destination directly, that is one move. Then number of moves required to transfer from temporary to destination, that is cn minus 1. That's why we have got 2 into cn minus 1 plus 1. Plus 1 is to transfer largest one to the destination. Yeah. Now, if you observe here, what we have got? 2 power n minus 1. Now let us, this is actually an example without saying what is the topic that we are discussing. Now let us see formally what is this, then you will understand clearly. Yeah, what the problem can be solved by using recursion. What is meant by recursion? In general programming language perspective, you will be defining like a function which is defining as which is defined in terms of itself, or function call by itself. We call it as recursive function. Similarly, whatever the problem that we can solve by using recursion, that particular problem formula can be represented in the form of recurrence relation. Okay, recurrence relation. So how we are solving this towers of Hanai problem is, what is the interesting point here, what is the objective in towers of Hanai problem is, how many moves we need to perform to transfer from source to destination, to transfer n disks from source to destination. This is what the objective. Now this particular problem we can solve by using recursion, and this particular formula can be represented in the form of recurrence relation. Now, what is meant by recurrence relation? This is the recurrence relation of, especially this Cn is equal to 2 into Cn minus 1 plus 1. This is the recurrence relation. Okay. Recursive formula can be represented in the form of recurrence relation, and that formula can be solved like earlier we have seen with respect to sequences. If you remember correctly, sequences can be represented by using two types of formulas. Do you remember it? Sequences can be represented in the form of two types of formulas.
Yes, sir, explicit and recursive.
Very good. Yeah, explicit and recursive. So which one is useful? Earlier we have seen like recursive formula in the sense like you consider yeah, Fibonacci sequence. You consider how we will define Fibonacci sequence, recursive or explicit formula? Fibonacci sequence.
Recursive.
Recursive, because you consider fifth Fibonacci number we have to calculate. Then sum of fourth Fibonacci number and third Fibonacci number, like Fi is equal to Fi is equal to F4 plus F3. Like that we will be calculating. Now the point, try to understand intuition why we will be traveling in this direction. You will come to know with this question. Now I wanted to find 10th Fibonacci number. Then yeah, what's the how we will calculate 10th Fibonacci number?
F9 plus F8.
F9 plus F8. For that again, F9, F8, F7, F8, F7, F6. Like that, all the Fibonacci numbers. In order to calculate the 10th Fibonacci number, we need to calculate what is the 9, what is 8. Next, for 9 and 8, we require previous ones. Next, for those we require previous ones. Until we reach base cases. Base cases in the sense initial conditions. Whatever the base cases we have seen here in the Towers of Hanoi. What is the base case? Like when we have only one disk, we need to just we can transfer to the destination. That is the base case. That is only one move that we can say. If you don't have any disks, then 0. We can say C0 is equal to 0. Like that, these are the initial conditions. For that, we don't require any processing. Now you consider again, come back to Fibonacci example. We are having base cases as first two Fibonacci numbers are 0 and 1 or 1 and 1, like that, depending upon vertical application. We'll be considering either 0, 1 or 1 and 1. Okay, both will give same sequence except the initial terms, isn't it? If we have 0 and 1 as the initial terms in Fibonacci sequence, what is the next further sequence? 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, like this, it will continue. If we are having 1 and 1 as the initial conditions, initial terms, then what will be the sequence? 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, again same sequence, but except starting point, that's it. Okay, we don't bother about that particular one now. And now we consider, in order to find let us say 30th Fibonacci number, we need to find previous all 30 Fibonacci numbers, then only we will come to know previous all 29 Fibonacci numbers, then only we will come to know what is 30th Fibonacci number. Yes or no? Yes? Do you understand what I am saying? Yes, please respond, ma'am. Shall I repeat? Okay. In order to find the nth Fibonacci number, we need to find previous n-1 Fibonacci number. Then only we will come to know nth Fibonacci number. This is what our observation. Why? Because of although fn is equal to fn minus 1 plus fn minus 2, in order to find fn minus 1, again we need to find the previous two, that is n minus 2, n minus 3. To find n minus 2, we require n minus 3, n minus 4. Like that, we should reach base conditions, initial conditions, so that we can get the fn, that is nth Fibonacci number. Okay, instead of that, if we have some explicit formula, as we have seen, sequences can be of two types. One can be represented by using recursive formula, other one can be represented by using uh, other one can be represented using
Explicit formula.
explicit formula. So which one is more convenient for us by this discussion? Yeah, explicit formula. Why? Because we no need to calculate all the previous terms to get the next term. So explicit formula, whatever the recursive formulas that we have, for those recursive formulas, if you can able to find explicit formula, then it will be beneficial for us. Whatever the recursive sequences we have, recursive formulas we have, for those sequences we will be finding, we will try to find explicit formula. This is what the intuition. Now, how we could able to find explicit formula for recursive formulas? This is the question. Did you get the question? Why we are trying to solve this question? Did you find the intuition here? Yes. Yeah. Now, consider discussed what you call same example, towers of Hanai. That's why I have started with this. Now, this is the recurrence relation. Recurrence relation is by using recursive formula, we will be representing a sequence. What is a sequence? Sequence is nothing but a sequence of number of moves that we require for single disk, two disks, three disks, four disks, like that. C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, so on, Cn. This is the sequence. This particular sequence is having the recursive formula like Cn is equal to 2 into Cn minus 1 plus 1. This is the recursive formula. Okay, how we could able to solve, or how we could able to obtain explicit formula for this recursive formula? This is the question. Understand? Now, how we could able to get the explicit formula for this sequence is by substitution. Here you consider Cn is equal to 2 into Cn minus 1 plus 1, and Cn minus 1 can be written as 2 into Cn minus 2 plus 1. Again, Cn minus 2 can be written as 2 into Cn minus 3 plus 1. Like that, so on. If you could able to generalize it, then we have got 2 Cn is equal to what is Cn? Cn is equal to 2 power n minus 1. What is Cn, ma? Just describe in words. What is Cn?
Number of moves required to exchange n coins.
Yeah. Number of moves required to transfer n disks from source to destination. This is the formula. Suppose I wanted to find how many number of moves required for 5 means 2 power 5 minus 1. Directly we will say, what's the number? 2 power 5 minus 1, isn't it? 5 disks, 31. Yes sir, no? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Earlier, what was the thinking is like how many moves we require for 4 to move 4 to temporary, then plus 1 plus again 4 to it. Okay, that is a 2 into Cn minus 1 plus 1. But without considering how many moves required for 4 disks, or how many moves required for 3, how many moves for 2, all these things we could able to say directly by using this explicit formula. So now the point is how we could able to obtain explicit formula from recurrence relation. Okay, by default recurrence relation represents recursive formula. Okay, by use how we will be obtaining explicit formula is nothing but by using this substitution method. Okay, this substitution method can be called sometimes as backtracking method, but I don't recommend you to use backtracking term. Why? Because it is having its own significance in computer science. Okay, that you will come to know in next semesters. There exist, just I will give 1 minute brief overview on this. Like there exist several algorithm design techniques. What is meant by algorithm? It is just a procedure to solve a problem, right? So how we will solve? There exist several well-known or established problem solving techniques. Okay, out of those, backtracking is one of those. Understand? Like you consider, do you know any sorting algorithms or searching algorithms? Yes or no? Do you have any idea about sorting algorithms like bubble sort, selection sort, merge sort, quick sort, or searching, linear search, binary search kind of thing? Yes or no? Okay. What you know, searching or sorting or both? Depending upon that, I will take example. That's why. Searching or sorting? With what you are familiar? Please answer, ma. Otherwise, I will take some other example. Some for sorting and binary in searching. Yeah, binary search you consider. I hope most of the people might be understanding. Binary search in the sense we will be having some sorted elements. Okay, sorted sequence. Like these all are sorted. Okay. Now let us see. We wanted to find an element. Then just we will pick an element which is a middle element. We will try to find. We will try to determine whether it is equivalent to the required one or not. Problem is to find whether the key element is present in this list or not. This is the problem. So we will be starting with the mid value. Then we will compare with this key. If it is equal, then we no need to worry. Directly straight away we can say this key is present in this list. Fine. This is first case. Suppose key is not equal to this mid value. Then what we will determine is whether this key is greater than this mid or less than this mid. If key is greater than this mid, then what does it mean? As this is in sorted order, it will not be present here. So we no need to consider this. So we will be considering this only. Again, in this sequence, how we will do is we will find what is the mid value. Okay, within this, what is the mid value we will find, and accordingly we will decide whether we have to consider this particular part or this particular part. Okay, if the key is greater than this mid as well, okay, this new mid as well, then we will not be considering this. We will be considering only this. Again, in this one, again we will calculate mid value. We will find either we'll consider either this one or this one. Okay, if the element is less than the mid, then we will exclude this and we will consider this only. Like that we will continue until we get the required key is a key in the list or key is not found. That conclusion, at least one of these two conclusions we could able to determine. Okay, this is binary search. Now if you consider what you call just a second. Yeah, we discussed with respect to algorithm design techniques. Now if you consider this particular strategy, how we are solving this problem is whatever the original problem we have. Original problem is what is the original problem? Finding an element in entire list. Okay, searching an element in entire list. How we could able to solve is we are dividing the problem into sub problem, saying that by performing one comparison, we are saying you search in this particular second half only. Okay, you no need to consider the first half. Why? Because the key is greater than this mid value. So we are, whatever the size we have n, that we are reducing it further by n by 2. So the next input size will be n by 2 only. That is within these n by 2 elements only we have to search. Next, again, if you compare with this new mid, we will be dividing further this n by 2 into n by 4. Why? Because half of the elements again we are eliminating. Could you able to follow? As you are aware, I think you could able to follow. Next n by 4, next n by 8, like this we will be dividing until we get a single element. So like this is one of the problem solving techniques or algorithm design techniques. Just a second, man, just a second. Okay. Next, like that we are having another algorithmic technique as backtracking, but in this textbook they have used backtracking term for this particular method as well, but I don't recommend to use backtracking term here. Just to use substitution method. Why? Because intuitively we are substituting here cn minus 1. What's the value of cn minus 1? We are substituting here. That's what it is, substitution method to solve recurrence relation. Clear what I am saying? Yes.
Yes.
Any doubt? Yeah. Now you consider another example for this substitution method. This is the recurrence relation. An is equal to an minus 1 plus 3. So how we could able to solve? Just an minus 1 value will be substituting here. What is the an minus 1 value? An minus 2 plus 3. Next, what is an minus 2 value? An minus 3 plus 3. Like that we will keep on continuing, and we know the base case or the initial condition as a1 is equal to 2. This is the base case. So now let us continue the substitution method here. An minus 1 value we have substituted. Next, an minus 2 value is an minus 3 plus 3. Now, what is the final value or the initial value is a1 is equal to 2. Until we get that particular one, we could able to substitute. So let us consider after 3 times substitution, like an is equal to an minus 1, an minus 1 value we have substituted, then an minus 2 value we have substituted, like this. Then what is the value we have got? An minus 3 plus plus how many times? 3 times, right? 3 into 3. Of course, that is given here elsewhere. Yeah, an minus 3 plus 3 into 3. What is the initial condition that we know? Initial condition is a1 is equal to 2. So after k times substitution, what we will be getting? An minus k plus an minus k plus
3k.
3k. Okay, k into 3 or 3k. Okay. Now what is n minus k? At last, n minus k should be
1.
1. So what is k value? K value is n minus 1. So here we will be getting a1. N minus k is 1. So a1 plus 3 into n minus 1. Okay, what is a1 value? A1 value is 2. So we will be getting like 3n okay, 3n minus 3 plus 2, which is nothing but yes sir, no, 3n minus 3 into n minus 1 plus 2, which is nothing but 3n minus 1. Got it? So now I wanted to get fifth term. What's the value? Fifth term
14.
14. Directly we could able to substitute. This is what explicit formula. Earlier what we are having recursive formula, that we could able to convert it into explicit formula by using which method? Substitution method. Okay, sometimes it can be called as backtracking method. That's it. Okay, this is one of the problems or article methods of solving recurrence relations. Okay, this is the formula. 2 plus n minus 1 into 3 or 3n minus 1 directly we can say. Yeah. Another example here, bn is equal to 2 into bn minus 1 plus 1. Okay, how we will do? Just we will substitute here, then we will be getting like this. This is nothing but what? This is the recurrence relation of what? Can you able to say? Hmm. All this time we have discussed.
NO is a tower of
Towers of Hanai problem only. Of course, we have see we have they have not specifically mentioned towers of Hanai problem, but this recurrence relation, by seeing this recurrence relation, we could able to identify. Yeah. So what's the final value that we have obtained? 2 power 2 power n minus 1, isn't it? That's what we have got. Like that, any recurrence relation we have, by using this substitution method or backtracking method, most of the recurrence relations we could able to solve. But there is no guarantee that for everything we could able to solve. Why? Because sometimes we may not generalize it. It will keep on, or we may not give initial conditions, something like that. Some constraints will be there. So in that particular case, what we will do, okay, such kind of things will be handled, and we will be saying such the recurrence relation as a linear homogeneous relation of degree k if it is in this form. Here we are not having any constant, that you keep in mind. An is equal to R1 into An minus 1 plus R2 into An minus 2 plus so on Rk into An minus k, where these all are Ri, R1, R2, R3, so on, Rk are the constants. Okay, these all are recursive defined functions. An minus 1, these all are sequence terms. In the sequence we will be having A1, A2, A3, A4, so on, An. Okay, in that we will be having An minus 1 as well. We will be having An minus 2, we will be having An minus k as well. So those all will be part of this recurrence relation. Now these are the examples whether these are what you call linear homogeneous recurrence relations or not, that we have to find, like whether this is a linear homogeneous equation or not. Just we have to substitute here. We have to map with this what you call formula or this form, then we could able to determine. Here it is satisfying, right? R1 is minus 2 and An minus 1, that is Cn minus 1, so it is satisfying. Next, An plus An minus 1 plus 3. Here we are having what? An minus 1, and the coefficient here is 1, that is R1 is 1, An minus 1, that's fine, plus 3. Here we have got constant, but there is no term in the sequence. Okay, 3 into 1, what is that 1? We don't know. What is that? Whether it is An minus 2 or whether it is A1, A2, that we don't know. So we cannot say it as linear homogeneous equation, recurrence relation. Similarly, you consider Fn is equal to Fn minus 1 plus Fn minus 2. Here what are the coefficients here? 1 and 1, so it is satisfying. So it is linear homogeneous recurrence relation. Next, here you consider Gn is equal to Gn minus 1 square. Yeah, any doubt? Okay, maybe some technical issue. Gn, okay. Now you consider Gn is equal to G square n minus 1 plus Gn minus 2. Again, it is not in the form of this linear homogeneous recurrence relation, so it is not linear homogeneous. Okay, now you consider there exists a linear homogeneous recurrence relation of the form An is equal to R1 An minus 1, R2 An minus 2 plus so on Rk An minus k. Then x power k, this can be written as polynomial equation. Okay, polynomial equation of degree k as x power k is equal to R1, same coefficients. Okay, same coefficients, but a n minus 1 we will be representing as x power k minus 1. Next, R2 x power k minus 2, so on Rk. Like this we could able to represent this. We will be call it as characteristic equation. For this linear homogeneous recurrence relation of degree k, we could able to represent associated polynomial of degree k, which is nothing but x power k is equal to r1 into x power k minus 1 plus r2 into x power k minus 2, so on rk. This we will be calling as characteristic equation. Okay, now why we will be writing as characteristic equation is by using the roots of the this characteristic equation, we will be determining what is the explicit formula for this recurrence relation. Try to understand, whatever the recurrence relation we have, this recurrence relation if you solve and obtain somehow explicit formula, then this is beneficial than having this recurrence relation. Yes or no? Having this recursive formula will give the solution, but for this we need to solve all the previous terms. Yes or no? If we have explicit formula for the whatever the recurrence relation that we have, then straight away we could able to give the nth term. So it is beneficial than having this recursive formula. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. With this motivation only, we have converted this recurrence relation of the degree k to polynomial of degree k, and that we are saying as characteristic equation. And depending upon the characteristic roots of the characteristic equation, we will be arguing on the, or we will be obtaining explicit formula. Okay, just I will give glimpse of it. Like there are two statements, two cases we can consider. Whatever the characteristic equation that we have obtained, like x square minus r1 into x minus r2, and we are having two distinct roots. Let us say we are having the recurrence relation like this, and the what you call, sorry, this is the characteristic equation of the recurrence relation. An is equal to r1 into an minus 1, r2 into an minus 2. Okay, then it is whatever the characteristic equation we have, the roots are s1 and s2, and we are saying these as distinct roots. Okay, these two as distinct roots. Like x, it is not like x value is 2 and 2. It is not in the form of x minus 2 whole square, like that, x minus 2 into x minus 2. These are two distinct roots, like 2 and 3, or minus 2 and 3, or minus 2 minus 3. Like this, two distinct roots we are having for this characteristic equation. Then straight away we can say what is the explicit formula for this recurrence relation as an is equal to u into s1 power n plus v into s2 power n. Understand? This is the explicit formula which we could able to give if characteristic equation of the recurrence relation is having two distinct roots, s1 and s2. What is s1? What is s1? S1 and S2 are the characteristic roots of the characteristic equation of this recurrence relation. And the second case is if we are having single root, then this is the explicit formula. Okay, this is about how we could able to solve recurrence relation by use to convert it into explicit formula. By using these theorems, we will be solving some problems. Okay, no need to worry. I will be elaborating on this particular one in the next class. Okay, thank you, ma. You can enter your roll number and can leave. Thank you.